we are somewhere trying to put our own idea on the concept of God and then later start questioning that why are you not doing your work properly? You see from where I'm coming. Namaste. My name is Bidhan. 2012 is when I chanced upon Upanishads, and it had a profound impact on my life. Since then, I have dreamt to bring the key aspects of Upanishads in a manner which is simple, relatable, and implementable in our daily lives. So here we are with a set of videos to make spirituality simple. So good to see you back, Preeti. What gets you here?
It's good to be back, Bidan.
Right.
So recently I saw that viral debate that was happening about the existence of God.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So of course I went through it and it was an interesting take on both sides. But I was not convinced on either side. So of course I had thought of you and I was like, okay, I have to go to Bidan so that he can make spirituality simple for me. So of course I've come here with that very simple question. But before I even start, I think I want to know, did you see it and what did you think about it?
No, we saw. I mean, a lot of us saw, even I saw that. It was an interesting debate, but I found it a little bit funny. Funny because there were two people talking about two different concepts of God and trying to argue. And isn't that very natural that when you're talking about two different things, you will end up making no sense in the end. And that's what exactly happened. So yeah, it was interesting. It was a little funny.
And I think that's what I want to start with itself.
Right.
A very simple question, three simple words. Give me a simple answer. Does God exist?
It's a simple question. If I were to ask you, does God exist? If you're asking me this, what do you mean by existence?
What? What do you mean? Existence is something that exists.
It's an amazing answer, Preeti.
No, okay, let's see. Okay. When I say existence, I think something that is like present, something that is real. I think that's what I would call as existence.
Okay, so that's existence for you, something that is present, something that is real. What if I tell you that God is existence?
What? I mean, I was expecting this. You'll give me one of your very famous one liners, and then you'll just sit very stoically like nothing has happened. I'm expecting you to elaborate on that and let's dig a little deeper and so that I can understand what you mean.
Shall we do a thought experiment?
Favorite. Of course, we have to do a thought experiment. I have really missed that, Vedant.
Good. So let's do that. That will basically answer you some of the questions that you are asking. So if I were to ask you this, Preeti, does space exist? Is there a space?
Just the way you asked me that question, I know that I'm going to get stuck in a corner, but okay, I'll play along, I'll answer. If you ask if space exists, yes, space exists.
Space exists. Now, if I were to give you an example that if you basically take two quantum particles, entangled it and keep it light years away, and if you change the spin of one quantum particle, the other quantum particle which is light years away will instantaneously change as if there is no space between them. You see what I'm saying?
Do you see my face? I mean, I kept a straight face when you were talking, but honestly, I didn't hear anything. It completely went off.
Exactly. So I expected this because if I have not explained to you what is quantum entanglement, what are quantum particles, what are quantum waves, and then I start giving you examples, then it will make no sense. And this is what happens when we talk about a simple question that does God exist? Because we haven't even defined what do you mean by God? What do you mean by existence? What is the relationship between God and existence? And at the same time, how will you even go forward? What are the modalities that you are going to take?
Okay.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
I see where you're coming from, yes.
Right. So to go forward in this discussion, the first thing that we need to do is Okay, before we go ahead, I just want to ask this, Preeti, how does it make any difference in your life? Whether God exists or not, how does it help you? Or is this one of those intellectual curiosities which a lot of people have? I just want to understand that first.
It is. It's definitely an intellectual curiosity because I like to know the answer to things. I like to know, put logic to different things. So let's say if I'm assuming that God is this all pervading creator and protector of the universe, then maybe in some form, then I can surrender, right? Like I can just let go.
Right.
But on the flip side, if I feel that this is all just it's random and there is no explanation for it, then maybe I will think of a way to protect myself a little more. So I think in both ways, I think it's more of me being in control.
This is interesting. So if you get convinced that there is a God who is the protector, it becomes easy for you to surrender.
Yeah.
It gives you certain amount of peace, isn't it? We'll come back to it, and for all you know, you will come back to it yourself as we go along. Right. Now, when we are discussing this, whether God exists or not, so I just wanted to put a proper structure here. So there are three ways that we can answer this question. And the way we use the methodologies that we use is Shruti, Yukti, and Anubhava. I know why you're smiling.
It's the first episode, Bidan. Let's ease into it. Don't use all the complicated Sanskrit words yet.
If you would have not smiled, I would have told you what does it all mean. So the three ways that we can look at what we are discussing, the three process that we can use it. One is Shruti, is taking help of scriptures, specifically Upanishad. Yukti is trying to analyze it, trying to see whether it makes sense to arrive at a point that there can be an existence of something what you're talking about. And Anubhava is a direct experience, right? So we are either talking about looking at scriptures or looking at analysis or looking at a direct experience. So these are the three ways that we can move ahead. So which is the process you want to start with? So let's define it. If you define it, it's easy for us to move. Otherwise, we'll be all over the place, Preeti, and it will become like one debate where. So we'll go in a structured manner.
Even I feel that's taking it step by step in a very structured way will make more sense,
Yes.
right? Thinking of the three that you said, I think let's go with Anubhava, because I think if I experience something, then it sort of becomes my truth, right?
Yes, yes.
So I think that would be a great place to start. But then it should, say, for example, my truth, if I experience something, it's my truth.
Right.
Right? But there is something called like an objective reality. Like, say, for example, this chair or the table, the lights, the camera, whatever it may be, everyone experiences it the same way.
Right.
Right? So when it comes to God as well, is that the case? Like, is it an objective reality?
So you are trying to tell me that if you can experience God, and if everybody experiences God in the same way, so that is Anubhava.
It becomes like a logical explanation.
There's no logic. I mean, you've experienced it. When you've experienced it, you have experienced it, and that becomes truth for you, right? So Anubhava is the first way that you would like to go ahead with. So do you believe that Earth moves around the sun?
Yeah, of course I believe that.
Is that in your experience that you're moving around the sun? Or in your experience is that the sun is moving around Earth?
I think I get what you're trying to say. But yes, it is not in my experience, but I believe it.
Why is that?
I mean, there is... I don't know what to say. Like, I think there's a belief, right? Because belief means it comes with certain amount of proof.
Right.
There is proof that the earth goes around the sun. I can understand the mathematical formula of the earth that is rotating in its axis and, going around the sun. So there is a logical explanation to it.
Okay. So you are now suddenly coming to yukti, reasoning, isn't it? Okay. So what you are saying is that even if there is no experience of earth revolving around the sun, or seeing an earth is curved or earth is round, to you and me it appears flat. But still you tend to believe in this is because there is a logical explanation that has been given, even if there has not been any experience.
Yeah.
Do you see where you're coming from? So then, what is wrong in simply believing that there is a God?
I mean, you're saying belief, but I think there's a very big difference between just belief and faith, right? Like you're expecting me to take it on blind faith. Like, even if you take the same example of the earth going around the sun, I know it because there's evidence of it that the earth goes around the sun, right? And even if you talk about something like gravity, I can experience it and I know that I'm experiencing gravity on a daily basis. I understand the mathematical formula which comes along with that. Even if you talk about something very abstract like black holes,
Right.
There is people have not experienced the black hole. Nobody's seen it for, millennia now. But there is an explanation to it and there's a mathematical formula for it, right?
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is that is all belief because there is something to substantiate it. I think that's the way I would put it.
Right.
But if you're talking about faith, like you're talking about, why don't you just believe in God is what you just asked me. When you talk about faith, like say, for example, years ago, when people didn't understand how thunder works.
Thunder means lightning.
Thunder, lightning, thunder, right?
Okay.
So if there was thunder, the immediate reaction at that time would have been, oh my God, God is angry.
Right.
That is why there is thunder. Or if there is a natural calamity, like an earthquake or something, the immediate reference was that, God is trying to level the playing field.
Right.
Even if you talk about something that is happening in our lives constantly, if something bad happens, I think we immediately say it's because of your past life karma.
Right.
Now, for all these things, whether it may be the thunder, the natural calamities, whatever it may be, there's nothing to back it up.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
And that's what is faith, right?
So if I were to break it, how you are trying to tell me is that there is an anubhava, direct experience. If you don't have an experience, you create an understanding basis certain proof, which can be substantiated. So if there is no experience, there can be belief if there is a certain amount of proof to substantiate it. And the third, if there is no proof to even substantiate it, that sort of moves into faith.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So these are the three layers that you're talking about. Interesting. So you do not want a faith-based argument for the God. You at least want a belief-based argument for the God.
Yes.
Okay. But before I speak to you, I want to speak to my audience here. And there's something that I want to tell all of you, that if you have faith in God, I feel this is a beautiful thing to be, because that's something is amazing. That's very nice. And I genuinely am there with you. But at the same time, if you don't have faith in a God which is different from you, but in an energy, in a power which cannot be defined, that is also a beautiful concept. If you don't believe in this concept at all, and that's again a very logical way to look at life. But more interestingly, if you are curious enough to understand the nuances in terms of what can be God, how do we defining it, how we can look into it in a deeper way, that can become very interesting. So we are here discussing about God, not trying to prove anything, not trying to shake your belief, shake your faith, or trying to convert you saying there is an existence of something supernatural. It's just an open discussion, and I would like you all to listen to it with an open mind, and let's see how it goes, because I can tell you this is a discussion which has happened over millennia, and something beautiful may come out as we go along. So keep your logical caps on as we proceed in this conversation. All right, Preeti. So we looked at a few things. One, you asked about anubhava, direct experience of God. And if the direct experience is not possible, at least there should be some logical explanation towards God. And if we don't have a logical explanation, then we end up saying faith. And of course, having a faith is not a bad place to be in, honestly. So before we look into the God, so first let's define God. How do you define God? Are you looking at God as a supernatural entity which is the creator of this universe, or you're looking at a God which is with a name and a form, kind of an avatar, or you're looking at a God which is formless but has an essence like all-pervading, all-knowing, compassionate? So what is your current definition of God for which you need a proof, either in form of anubhava or logic?
Okay, that's a big question. But for the sake of this conversation, I think let's take God as this supernatural, all pervading entity that is like the creator and the protector of the universe.
Right.
Right?
Right. And your question is that why are we not able to find the
Yeah.
proof?
So if God is this all pervading supernatural being, then why has, has he not revealed himself, or why is it so difficult to find proof of his existence?
Hmm.
Why is it covered in layers and layers?
There's a lot of enigma around it. So first of all, I can assure you one thing. There is enough and more proof right now, in here right now, to show and talk about existence. But it may not be in a form that you and I may want to look at it. But I'll come to it later. But to answer your question that why don't you experience the God which is supernatural? To understand that, let's do a thought experiment.
Of course.
Right? Because that's the best way to
Yes.
understand, right? Now, we live in a three-dimensional world. What do you know what is three dimension?
Yeah, so I don't know, math is coming in my head.
Yeah, but in an easy language, what do you mean by three-dimensional world?
Where we have the ability to move or, forward, backward, left, right, up, down.
So these are three dimensions, right? X-axis, Y-axis, and
That's why I said math
Z-axis.
is coming in
Fair
my
point.
head.
So you can move to and fro,
Yeah.
left and right, up and down.
Up and down.
So there are three dimensions that you can move, right? Beautiful. Now, then what is two dimension?
Where you can move only in either, left, right, forward,
and
back.
forward, backward. So on one plane that you will
correct.
move. So you cannot move up and down. So
Right.
you will have no idea there's something called up and down that exists in a two-dimension world. Now let us for a moment assume there are entities who stay in two-dimensional world. There are living entities who are a part of two-dimensional world. So for them, the reality is only
Moving forward, backward, or
Left and right.
Perfect. Yeah.
right? So when you look on them from above, which is from the third dimension, will they be able to ever see you? So imagine this is a paper, right? This is a two dimension. So there are organisms on this two dimension, but you can stand here and see because you can see up and down. But these entities can't see up and down. They can only see forward, backward, left and right. Can they ever see you?
No.
When I'm saying seeing, can they even perceive you?
Right.
They can never perceive you, right? But can you perceive them?
Right. We can.
You can.
Yeah.
Which means you are able to see from a third dimension. You can look at two dimension.
Correct.
But from two dimension, you can't look at third
Three
dimension.
Correct.
Now, if you need to interact with these two dimension, you will have to come at their dimension. So as soon as you come at their dimension, for them it will appear as if you have appeared out of nowhere. Do you see what I'm saying? Suddenly you will appear in their dimension while you are coming from the top, but for them you have suddenly appeared.
Correct.
Right? Possible?
Yeah.
Okay. So hold this logic. So the logic here is that in two dimension, you cannot, the entity or the organisms there cannot see you because you are from third dimension, but you can see them.
Right.
Now, I'm asking you a logical question. Do you think that there are only three dimensions available, or can there be a possibility of more dimensions which cannot be conceived by your perception?
I'm sure there are.
There can be. There is a possibility.
Yeah.
Can I therefore say that there is an existence of a supernatural being which is beyond these three dimensions, where that being can look at us? Just like from 3D you can look at 2D, it can look at us, but we can't look at them. Is that a logical possibility or not? I'm not saying
it is.
There is. I'm just asking, is it a logical possibility?
There is a possibility.
There's a logical possibility that you cannot see, but that being can see you.
So far, I'm with you. Yes.
Okay. Now let us look at the second role. Do you know what is? I'm sure you know the relativity theory of time from Einstein.
Yeah. I remember learning about it in school.
What was that?
From my memory, it would be like the time is not the same for all of us.
Okay.
Like, say, for example, depending on the situation also. I remember this example that Einstein gave where he said that if you are sitting next to a beautiful girl,
Yeah.
that 1 minute will also feel like it goes like that.
Yes.
But
Okay.
at the same time, if you keep your hand over a hot stove, that 1 minute is going to feel like 1 hour.
All
So
right.
that was,
So you're saying that time feels different.
yeah.
Okay, let's look at more from a physics perspective.
Hmm.
How much time does it take for a photon or the sunlight to come from sun to earth?
Oh my God, science questions.
Approximately.
8 minutes.
Approximately 8 minutes. That is your thing, that it takes an 8 minute.
Yeah.
From a photon's perspective, how much time it has taken for a photon to move from sun to the earth?
8 minutes.
Think about it. The photon is traveling at a speed of light. And anything that travels at the speed of light, the time dilation happens to infinity, which means the time literally stops. So from a perspective of photon, which is traveling at a speed of light, basically there is no time. There is no past, there is no present. But from your perspective, it has taken 8 minutes. What does this tell you?
Reality is not the same for everyone.
It is not same, because your conditioning, you have a conditioning of time, space and causality. That is what it has been told to us, that there is something called desh, kal and karma. So our mind, our perception ability is defined by only desh, kal and karma. But is it possible that there can be something beyond desh, kal and karma, beyond time? There can be, right?
Yeah.
Just because your perception is limited by time, space and causality does not mean that is the only truth. There can be, that's the dimension I'm talking about, a dimension which is beyond that, something which is beyond desh, kal and karma.
Right.
So if something which is beyond desh, kal and karma, if something which is beyond those three dimensions, would you ever be able to perceive that being?
Not from where we are.
Not
You're
from,
right.
but can that being perceive you?
Again, that 2D, 3D example. Perfect.
So logically, can I explain to you that this is why you may not be able to perceive that supernatural being, which is beyond your perception. And again, I'm giving a disclaimer. I'm not saying that supernatural being exists. I'm just
possibility.
I'm just giving you an answer to your question, that why, if there is a God like that, why I'm not able to see it or perceive it.
Right. So then, from what you're saying, because we can't experience a God, because we can only experience things within the construct of time, space, and causality, right? So I don't know if it's the right question to ask, but does that mean that God has just become a figment of, it's like my mental construct, or just like a figment of my imagination, right? It's that same question that we've had. You asked me before once, saying, "Did God create you, or did you create God?"
Yeah, it's true to a lot of extent, because if we are trying to conceive something within our frame, we are trying to limit something in our understanding, and we are trying to limit something in our understanding, then it is ought to be not completely true, right? And therefore your understanding will differ from my understanding, because your limitation and my limitations again are different. So your idea of God and my idea of God will be different, because we are using our mental construct to build an idea which is beyond this. Then there is a problem.
Right. So, I mean, I think somewhere now it's come to the point of there's no proof of God's existence. At the same time, we can't refute the complete, we can't deny the existence of God.
If
as
you
well.
consider God as a supernatural entity which is
Yes.
separate from you, you're right to say you can't either prove the presence, neither can you disprove the absence, because it is beyond your. Yes, you're right to say that. I'll kind of give you an interesting example. This was used by Carl Sagan. He's a famous scientist to explain the same idea. And I'm going to use it. Suppose I tell you, Preeti, there's a dragon inside this room. You'll say, show me the dragon. I said, no, you can't see it. It's invisible. Then you say, okay, why don't I just spray some paint in the room so the outlines can be seen? I said, no, it does not disturb the matter. It does not interact with the matter, so you will not know its presence. Then you will say, hey, then let me, dragon must be emitting heat, so let me put ultra
Infrared.
infrared, and then you will be able to detect. I said, no, that the heat, dragon does not emit heat because the temperature of dragon is exactly the same as room. Then you say, okay, at least let me look at the oxygen, carbon dioxide levels in the room because the dragon breath will change the composition. I said, no, dragon doesn't breathe. And then you say, okay, let me look at the floor pressure. I said, no, the dragon does not have any weight. Then you say, okay, then let me use any scientific instrument to find out. I said, no, the dragon is beyond the scientific thing. Then what will you tell me? You will say, Vidhan, for me, there is no dragon. Or dragon is beyond the scope of my understanding. So you can't either prove the presence of a dragon like this, neither can you disprove because you have taken away all the instruments that I have to sort of look at it. So ultimately, you will say, I don't know if there is a dragon or there is no dragon. And this is exactly what happens when we sort of look at a supernatural God, separate from us, and then we can always prove that there can be a dimension which can be beyond these three dimensions, and then you will be stuck. Then what do I do? Because either, yeah, logically there is a possibility of presence of such dimension, but I don't know. It is not in my experience.
I think it's just better to be agnostic now, Bidan. Like, it's okay to not know. It's okay. Like, if there is a possibility of God, then yes. If not, no. It's okay to be in that space of I don't know, I think.
It's not a bad space to be in, because when you are an agnostic, you are at least trying to find out things. And let me tell you one thing very Preeti, there is enough and more proof, and we will talk about it. But maybe the proof that you are seeking for an external God, you cannot necessarily directly prove that point.
Coming back to Anubhava, because we were talking about, that was the first step that we were talking about, right? So what about people who say that they have experienced this supernatural being in some form, where they have been able to communicate with, or that the God has spoken to them?
Right.
There are instances where we hear this, right? So what about that?
Oh, this is very interesting what you brought out, and good. See, you have to also understand this nature. The mother nature that we are a part of is also infinite and has multiple layers. And as you start opening up to the layers of the mother nature, what we call prakriti, there are a lot of things which happens which you cannot explain today, right? Just because you are not able to explain a specific phenomenon, just because you have experienced a specific phenomenon and you're not able to explain it, sometimes we just assume that is God. That can be one of the possibilities. I'm not saying that's the only possibility, and I think we should discuss this further because what you brought out is interesting.
Right, because even, let's say, even if, for example, I assume that God is this supernatural being, right? But somewhere, I think everyone's explanation or everyone's experiences are different. It's not a common, like everyone is not saying the same thing.
Right.
It's not an objective reality, right? Everybody seems to have their own truth.
Right.
Right? So I think that is my first thought when it comes to that. And then it comes to the whole, I know I've asked this many, many times before, but if there is this protector, then why does the world have so much like evil? Why is there so much negativity happening in the world?
Okay, there are two things to this, Preeti. The first, you're saying that if the experiences happened, why the experiences are different.
Yeah.
So there can be two things. One, they have experienced a specific facet of nature, and therefore different people have experienced different facets of nature, and they have called it as God, and therefore the experiences are different. Or maybe their experience is the same. They're communicating in a slightly different manner, basis the language they have, and we are also understanding in a slightly different manner. That also is a possibility that somewhere the understanding gets diluted as it goes into the masses.
Right.
And the second point, what you are asking, that if there is an all-powerful God, why there is so much of an evil? And that again comes from the way the misunderstanding has happened. So let me ask you, why do you say that the God is a protector, or the God that you're talking about is all compassionate? From where is that idea coming from?
I mean, What do you mean where it's coming? That's what we've been told, right?
Who has told?
It's what we know, Bidan. Like that.
You know,
That
who
is
has told this? My point is very clear. Are these people who have had visions of God, have they told this?
not to my understanding. No.
So this is the point, because as far as I understand, nobody who either are rishis or people who've had this intuitive understanding, nobody seems to have come and told that, hey, there is a supernatural being, all protector, all pervasive, who is basically taking care of us, right? See, we have to also understand that we are a part of a society, and somewhere we project, we discussed that we project an image on the God depending upon what is important to us. So today, if we feel power is important, then God becomes all powerful. If we feel that you should be um,
Compassionate,
yeah, then the God becomes
kind, and
kind and compassionate, right? If you feel that
aggression.
someone, if you need to get aggressive, then you basically portray an aggressive God. If you need to protect a person who is not very powerful, then you become the protector, that the God becomes the protector. Are you seeing this? That we are somewhere trying to put our own idea on the concept of God, and then later start questioning that why are you not doing your work properly? You see from where I'm coming.
Wow. I've never thought of it like that.
You know what? Sorry, I'm interfering right now. I think what is important for us is to delve deeper in this. That when you are saying the people had visions of God, what do they actually mean? What is that vision that we are talking about? And how do you interpret that? Because that's not your
not my experience.
Not your experience. How do we interpret that? And the second part is that if there is an all protector God, why there is so much of an evil? Isn't it? This is what you're trying to ask. Why don't we do one thing? Why don't we pick up this topic in our next episode? Because for all you know, when you start answering this question, something interesting will get revealed. And in the process, somewhere you will understand the one who is seeking needs to be sought.
What? Sorry, what did you just say?
That's okay. That doesn't matter. Yeah, we'll move in this direction. Does it make sense? Because we've already crossed quite a lot of time now discussing this point.
Yes, I think it makes sense, and it's okay for us to take a few episodes, as long as at the end of it you can give me a definitive response to my question of does God exist,
Whether I give you a response or whether you figure it out yourself,
or help me figure it out.
We'll see it. But if I were to quickly ask you, so far whatever we have discussed, maybe in last 25-30 minutes, I don't know how much time has gone by, what would your takeaway be?
Definitely the last point that we just spoke about on, we are the ones who give these attributes to how we expect our God to be. And then I like the line you said where we put these, descriptions, and then we say you're not doing your job properly. I think that really struck a chord. So sort of understanding the dimensions as well, that we are very constrained by time, space, and causality. And that's where our understanding is limited, right? So to understand something beyond the three dimensions, I think, first of all, we can't refute it. At the same time, we can't prove it with the existing framework that we have. I think that was another point that I definitely took away. I liked how you told the audience also, if you have faith, then by all means continue.
It's a beautiful thing
faith.
to have that. Yeah.
So these are my biggest takeaways, but I have not yet answered the thing of.
No, you don't have an answer. I know that, and I am not expecting you to
and
have
I'm
an
sorry
answer.
that I'm just going on digging, because I really want the answer.
No, you should, because only when you ask, you will understand. And I'm happy that you are asking these questions. So good. I just want to say to my audience that if you're really interested in these kind of concepts, in fact, we do a lot of sessions on Upanishads where we try and make these concepts very simple so that you can understand, and not only understand, use it in your day-to-day life. And if you're interested to be part of those workshops, go ahead and put your name and number, which is there in the description below. And needless to say, this episode that we are making on God is more from an exploratory purpose. It is not here either to convince you, to confuse you, or to challenge any of your views. It's more to dig deeper. For all you know, with proper understanding, there'll be a lot more clarity and the faith becomes stronger. So if you like this episode, I would request you to like it, subscribe, share. Until we meet next, may there be grace in our seeking. Thank you so much.